Welcome to Crafted Nest, where small gardens grow big dreams. And today, those dreams come in shades of green and purple. This story begins in a modest Thai backyard, where vegetables are grown not just for meals, but for joy. We'll walk beside wooden planter boxes, under the coral vine soft blooms, and into the kitchen where freshly picked eggplants turn into comforting dishes full of spice and memory. It's not a showcase, it's a rhythm, a life lived slowly, one harvest at a time. If you love discovering gentle, real-life DIY gardening ideas and cooking moments that feel like home, consider subscribing to Crafted Nest. We believe inspiration grows best when shared. So come grow with us. This little garden patch, tucked against a faded wall, hums with quiet life beneath a straw blanket. The eggplants here aren't flawless. They're real, streaked with sun and time, heavy with flavor. Each one wears its summer coat, some glossy purple, others with rustic smudges of brown, as if kissed too long by the sun. In the sweltering Thai heat, the soil dries fast, gasping by midday. So every morning, before the sun sharpens its rays, the gardener kneels down, hands dusted in compost, and spreads straw like a blanket over the base of each plant. It isn't fancy, just practical. The mulch holds in moisture, softens a blow of raindrops, and keeps weeds from stealing the soil's breath. There's a quiet rhythm to it. Loosen the topsoil, add a sprinkle of homemade fertilizer, mulch gently, and then step back. It's not about perfection. It's about keeping things alive long enough to share a plate that might hold curry later, or a sweet, crunchy stir-fry. But for now, it's just a garden corner, quietly braving the heat. In one corner of this tiny yard, a string trellis stretches modestly between two bamboo sticks. Simple, quiet, and full of purpose. It holds up the coral vine, now pink with promise. Not long ago, it was barely a sprout, just a hope placed in warm soil. But given a string to lean on, it climbed as if it had been waiting its whole life to stretch toward the sun. The blossoms look like tiny folded hearts, soft and edible. A gentle buzz fills the air when the blue-banded bees arrive. They know this corner well. It's where the garden sings. Setting up the trellis took little more than intention. Jute twine tied snug, not too tight, leaving space for growth. With every new curl, the vine whispers a thank you for space, for time, for support. And every time it grows a little taller, the gardener smiles, knowing that something once so small now offers shade, flowers and food, for bees, for the eye, for soul. Tucked under the soft arms of a morning shadow, the herb shelf hums with quiet utility. It's a modest thing, no bigger than a kitchen rack, really, but it holds life in fragrant handfuls. Mint stretches lazily over the edge of its pot, while Vietnamese coriander and parsley lean toward the cool light, like eager students. This is the shady side of the yard, where the sun whispers rather than shouts. Perfect for herbs that wilt beneath intensity, but flourish under gentleness. The pots don't match, some chipped, others rescued from storage, but each cradles something fresh and vital. Here, the gardener moves slowly. No rush, just a watering can and intention. A soft pour at the roots, a check of the leaves, a whispered word to each. Grow steady. These herbs won't become centerpieces, but they'll find their way into soups, into salads, into teas that cool a hot day. It's a garden not for showing off, but for living with. A little shelf of flavor, a daily ritual of care. After 7 years in this home, every corner has a memory and a need. The garden no longer asks for more space, but for better use of what's already here. That's where the built-in begins, not as a project, but as a promise. A place to rest the knees after tending to eggplants. A shelf beneath to keep the tools dry. A surface wide enough to hold both a coffee mug and a small harvest bowl. In the heat of the day, this corner holds coolness. In the evening, it's where the light falls softest. A bench built along the garden wall makes use of every inch. The materials, chosen slowly, with that won't splinter in the sun. A finish that can weather the rains. And storage, always storage. No more buckets left under trees. No more gloves tossed behind pots. Everything has a place. The built-in grows into the garden, not beside it. And here, while sipping orange soda with mint, you realize it's not just a seat. It's a pause, a part of the garden that gives back. When morning breaks and the light filters in like gold through gauze, the garden becomes a soft concert. No loud buzz, no frantic movement, just a steady hum of purpose. Among the blossoms, a blue-banded bee makes her entrance, dipping into the coral vines with deliberate joy. This part of the garden wasn't planned with perfection in mind. It was planted with longing for visits, for flutter and hum, for that sacred partnership between bloom and bee. Coral vines climb toward the sky, their petals curled and sweet. Thai basil blossoms nod beside them, and the air smells faintly of anise and heat. Hand pollination helps, of course. A gentle touch, a guiding hand. But nothing replaces the presence of a true pollinator, arriving on her own terms. The soil here isn't rich. The weather is unpredictable. But still, these flowers call out, and the bees answer. In a tiny yard in the Thai sun, the smallest wings carry the largest promise. Fruit, seeds, and a whisper of wildness that can't be planned, only invited. The harvest isn't grand. It doesn't spill from baskets or demand applause. But in this small tray, there's color, character, and a quiet kind of pride. 3 types of eggplants rest together like old friends. The rotund purple one with streaks of dusk. The green one, firm and peppery, like summer bottled up. And the eggplants scattered like tiny beads of forest light. They were all grown here, right beside the wall where the coral vine climbs, in soil stirred each morning by calloused hands and sprinkled with homemade feed. These eggplants didn't grow out of theory. They grew out of habit, heat, and a bit of hope. Lifting them from the earth feels like a kind of soft farewell. There's joy, yes, but also responsibility. They're headed to the kitchen now, where they'll be sliced, soaked, and stirred into memory. This trio isn't just food. It's proof that even a small patch, with sun and care and straw and sweat, can offer up something rich, rooted, and real. It began with a few old boards and the stubborn belief that something better could be built by hand. No fancy cuts, no pristine wood, just pieces once forgotten, now given a second life as a vessel for something green. The planter box stands proudly on the edge of the balcony, catching light in the early hours, its frame warm with sun and water by rhythm. Inside, the vegetables lean and stretch, small but determined. Eggplants curl their first leaves. Lettuce softens the edges with shades of green. Building it was simple. A saw, a few nails, and time. The kind of time you don't rush. The kind that gives space for quiet thoughts and the sound of your own work echoing off the wall. And now it grows things. Not just food, but habit. The daily check-in. The slow watering. The moment of pause after a long day. In cities where space is scarce and noise runs high, a wooden box of soil becomes a world of its own, a patch of calm, a promise that something small can still flourish. Every morning begins the same way. Barefoot steps to the garden bed, a soft exhale of warm air, and hands that know the texture of soil better than any map. The earth here is tired by midday heat, so the morning becomes sacred, a small window for tending before the sun demands too much. The gardener crouches low, breaking the crust of yesterday's dryness. Each stroke of the rake is like smoothing out a blanket for seeds yet to wake. A paper pouch opens, its contents not magical, just practical. An organic blend, balanced and earthy, a mix of what the plants need but rarely ask for aloud. Sprinkle, cover, press gently. The ritual never changes, but its meaning deepens. It's not just care, it's continuity, a daily offering of time.